What has not aged well? All the acceptance speeches thanking Weinstein. The episode of Seinfeld where Elaine is dating a guy who shares a name with a murderer. He keeps getting mistaken for him, so she gets him to change his name. She picks up a sports magazine and is trying to find a name for him in there, and comes up with O.J. Simpson, she was referring to. The episode was from '93, the murders happened '94. The Japanese landlord in Breakfast at Tiffany's. There was an interview with Kevin Spacey working with kids, and he said he was always looking for the shy kid in the corner. I was just blinded by the balls on that kid. Kevin Spacey, Baby Driver. This one episode on the show Glee, Mark Salling, Puck, had a line in the show where he said that in the future I'll either be in jail or dead or both. For those who don't know, Mark Salling was convicted and found guilty of child pornography, then committed suicide. Also that episode where he was going to make a sex tape but got stopped because then he would have been producing child porn. Yeah. Most sitcoms, all you needed back in the day was a child actor with a catchphrase that was part of a non-nuclear family, and you basically had a license to print money. Now they're borderline unwatchable. The food pyramid. What? I don't have to eat 8 loaves of bread, 14 eggs, 66 apples, a whole turkey, and a golden triangle full of oil each day? There's a commercial featuring Bill Cosby about people going to jail. There's an episode of The Cosby Show where he drugs his barbecue sauce so a bunch of teenagers fall in love. Matrix parodies. For like 2 years there it was hard to escape the forced bullet time jokes in most media. Taking Andrew Luck in a fantasy draft yesterday afternoon. Babies named Daenerys. A year or so ago the TV news interviewed a lovely young lady in her 20s. Her name is Alexa Siri. Poor thing. Her parents must be prophetic. Edit, spelling. Tila Tequila really fell off the bandwagon. What I love is her claim to fame is being the most popular person on MySpace. That sentence alone certainly doesn't age well. Those shareable Facebook posts saying you are legally proclaiming that Facebook can't use your personal information. Minions. They used to be these kinda cute, one-off characters in a decent movie. Then once Illumination realized they can beat Minions to death and back and still make hundreds of millions, they just focused on Minions and only Minions. Jared Fogel's Subway ads. The scene in Super Size Me when Jared is talking to children about his experience. CGI from 90s films. The CGI on Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park still looks great now, but anything else just looks crap. Anaconda had some awful CGI and script. I think that Jurassic Park aged well partly because its creators understood the limitations that they were working with in 1993. Honestly, newer movies that overuse CG in an attempt to wow people age a lot worse. Avatar is probably the best example that I can think of. It was publicized for how amazing it looked in 2009, and Call of Duty Black Ops made a big deal of using the same motion capture technology a year later. By 2014, when I watched it the second time, it already looked dated. Bit of a Brit thing, but Punch and Judy puppet shows. Punch is an alcoholic who beats up Judy for the entertainment of kids. Frowned upon nowadays. Those lol meme XD movies that used to come out targeted to teenagers, such as Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, etc. Due to them parodying things that were relatively current at the time, such as the Leave Britney Spears Alone YouTube video, they didn't even survive a few months. Age well? They were shit to begin with. Fun fact, the writers/producers admitted that they based all the references to other movies on the trailers for those movies so they could release closer to the movies they spoofed. Teachers saying you would not walk around with a calculator in your pocket. RAIM screen names from 6th grade. Imagine if we did something stupid like make that our Reddit name or something. For something that aged poorly really quickly, political comedy from just before the 2016 presidential election. Semi-recently I was hanging out with some friends and there was an SNL rerun from that October, and every single Trump reference is just dripping with the Trump is a joke and won't win attitude that it is tough to watch. A lot of stand-ups avoid politics in their specials because it usually doesn't age well regardless of circumstance. Sometimes it's unavoidable, like late night shows that have to keep it topical. A lot of early internet memes, especially when you see them used in commercials. Edit, yep, that sure is a lot of dead memes in my inbox. That grilled cheese I intended to take to work last winter and I just found in an old backpack in the back of my closet. My mother-in-law gave me a copy of Bill Cosby's Fatherhood when my first son was born. She actually meant well. Turns out Bill Cosby's advice on any subject seems suspect. Coney 2012. Donatella Versace. Honestly, I think she now technically qualifies as a vintage leather bag. Career advancement. Working your way up from the mailroom is long gone. You have to switch companies to get any sort of significant raise. When you put in your notice for the switch, they try to keep you by offering a raise. Always pissed me off more because why am I now worth more? You should have been proactive and I never would have been looking elsewhere. People who don't wear sunscreen, kids. The whole cousins thing they pulled in the English dub of Sailor Moon back in the day with Haruka and Michiru, named Amara and Michelle in the dub, who were originally written as a lesbian couple. I know that lesbian couples in a kids show would have been a big deal at the time that it came out, but looking back now, they really did a piss poor job at trying to make their relationship not seem romantic while also claiming they were related. They really succeeded in turning them into an incestuous couple instead. Lamau. This video always gets me. Oblivion's graphics. I love Morrowind, but the potato faces in TES 4 seriously throw me off. It wouldn't be so bad if the camera wasn't shoved up the nose of whatever NPC you're talking to. MTV channel, a TV channel. I don't know if it's in another country besides Italy, but when I was young I remember that in this channel there was really good music and in the evening some good TV shows. Now, the music is mostly missing and there are only shit shows. I'm really sad about that. That one time when President Obama was on a late-night show reading mean tweets and one of them was from Trump telling him essentially how he was a bad president. Obama told him at least he'd be president and Trump wouldn't, implied. A good comeback at the time, but it aged absolutely terribly. Edit, many people here are referring to a correspondence dinner hosted by the Obama administration as it featured a similar joke. While this too aged badly, I am referring to a video posted by Jimmy Kimmel's YouTube channel in October 2016. It is I who hasn't aged well. What makes the red man red from Disney's Peter Pan? Yikes. Edit, I appreciate the silver. Wasn't really expecting it. How about Song of the Roustabouts from Dumbo? Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. Work all day, we work all night. We never learn to read or write. We're happy-hearted roustabouts. Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. When other folks have gone to bed, we slave until we're almost dead. We're happy-hearted roustabouts. Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. Uck. Hike. We don't know when we get our pay. And when we do, we throw our pay away. We get our pay when children say, with happy hearts, it's circus day today. /r/funny. Seriously though, jokes these days over there are terrible. Reposts from Facebook. Even screenshots of funny comments from Facebook get upvoted to the top. Whatever happened to /r/funny from a couple of years ago where any kind of screenshot would get downvoted into oblivion? Don't forget r/pics, which seems to just be a place for people to upload their personal photos with shitty backstories. Any reference to Hillary Clinton becoming the first female president in shows and movies. I remember there was an entire episode on Rory writing an essay about Hillary Clinton, then finding out everyone else wrote an essay about how Hillary Clinton inspired them in Gilmore Girls. Even as a Democrat, I'm like yikes. The X-Files movie where a government agent hijacks an airplane and crashes it into the World Trade Center. Edit, it was the Lone Gunman spin-off. Thanks X-Files. Episode was in May 2001. Early 2000s boob jobs. Survivorship bias. You only notice the poorly done boob jobs. Tribe tattoos. I might hear you. Drywall won't stop him. Dane Cook. The scene in a B-movie where the police restrain a lady for putting honey in her tea, and while they put her in a chokehold she screams, "I can't breath." Andrew Luck, sorry Colts fans. And yet, by retiring, he's making it far more likely that he will age well. Robin Williams had a stand-up show where he was going on about GPS and their sometimes wonky directions. At one point, he says something along the lines of, "You'd be in the middle of crossing the Golden Gate Bridge and here, turn left now. Sorry, not that depressed." First time I heard that after his suicide, it honestly made me sad, laugh at the irony. Well, don't forget that he ended his life not because of depression, but because he was in physical agony. Lewy body syndrome, I think. People who go tanning. A YouTube video predicting who will get cut from Smash before Ultimate came out. F7U12 memes. Even looking back on the ones I saved or shared, they're awful. Rage comics, for those of us that weren't on Reddit yet at the time. I remember making some of those and posting them to Memebase and Tickled. I thought they were so funny at the time. Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Dream Dra. Ah yes, one of cinema's greatest masterpieces. Ignition by R. Kelly is really awkward to listen to now. It's a shame because it's a great song. Really anything by R. Kelly, particularly the late singer Aaliyah's debut album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, is like that. Carl Azus lol, dude's only 28 and looks a lot older. I had to look up who this was, and then when I saw pics of him I thought your post had to be some kind of joke. And I looked up his age and holy crap, the guy just turned 30. He looks like he's 50. I'm not trying to be mean, but damn. Older TV shows that joke about psychologists and don't take them seriously. I'm looking at you, Gilmore Girls. Who gives platinum to a common AskReddit thread after 30 minutes? Yeah, this question gets posted at least once a week. The top comments always mention Bill Cosby. Pro Jared divorce jokes. Most upvotes I ever got. Broken marriage /10. The usefulness of lead. Revenge of the Nerds. There are a lot of movies from that era that are just appalling now. The blatant rape in Nerds is pretty bad though. Bloodhound Gang's 1999 hit single The Bad Touch. You can't even watch animals doing it on the Discovery Channel anymore, it's all reality shows about fishing or some shit. My Beanie Baby collection. Student loans. Music videos from the late 90s early noughties that have CGI in them. Sex and the City. Not only is Carrie Bradshaw a terrible person, cheating, not happy when her friend won't give her money, wastes money, can't write etc. etc. She also slut shames and shames people's sexuality. It's vague now, there's probably a bunch more egregious errors in that show. That said, it comes to my mind that wow, Seventh Heaven had some episodes that really aged badly. Having Stephen Collins around that many underage actors was probably not a good idea. Ross Geller's entire character. He's such a horrible whiner, reruns have made me hate him. I actively root against Ross and Rachel's relationship now, but it was so romantic the first time around. Reruns also make me totally understand what Monica saw in Richard. My junior high-aged self really didn't get it. Much of America's crumbling, deteriorated infrastructure hasn't aged well. Decaying bridges, roads, rail lines and railroad cars, water delivery systems that still use lead piping, inadequate highways that are poorly maintained, electric grids, etc. They recently fixed a pothole near my home that has been there for about 8 years. I honestly missed that old pothole and now I'm upset that it's gone. I've seen a pothole for so long that I grew attached to it. Movies incorporating things that were considered trendy at the time. /cough / emoji movie, cough /.